If you clicked on this video, you are probably carrying a quiet, uncomfortable fear. It is the fear that you are running out of time. You look around and see people your age buying bigger houses, driving nicer cars, taking better vacations, and you ask yourself one terrifying question: am I falling behind? You can be earning more than you have ever earned before and still feel like you are losing the game. That is the brutal part about money. At 30, the bills get bigger. At 40, life becomes expensive. And by 50, time starts to feel more expensive than money. So you go online looking for a number. You want someone to tell you exactly how much money you should have by 30, 40, or 50 so you can finally know if you are on track. But here is the brutal truth that nobody wants to tell you. Chasing a generic number is exactly what keeps most people broke. Numbers like that can be useful, but they are also a trap because they do not tell the whole story. You could have $50,000 saved and still be weak if you also have credit card debt, a big car payment, no retirement plan, and a lifestyle that burns every paycheck. And you could have only $10,000 saved, but be in a much stronger position because you have zero toxic debt, a stable emergency fund, low living expenses, and an unbreakable habit of investing part of your income every month. On paper, the first version looks richer, but in real life, the second version has all the power and all the control. So the real question is not just, how much money do I have? The better question is, what is my money actually doing for me at this stage of my life? Your money should protect you from emergencies, reduce your stress, buy back your time, and slowly turn into assets. If it only helps you maintain a lifestyle that keeps getting more expensive, you are not building wealth. You are just upgrading your level of survival. Let's break down the truth about your money at 30, 40, and 50, not with random numbers, but with the checkpoints you need to pass so you stop feeling trapped. And this is where most people make their first expensive mistake. Let's start with your 30s. In your 30s, you do not need to be rich, but you absolutely need to stop living financially exposed. This is one of the most dangerous decades because this is usually when you start making real money. You are out of your 20s, you have more experience, and the paychecks get bigger. Most people immediately spend it to look like they are in their 30s. You finance a better car, move to a nicer apartment, and take on more payments. You feel successful. But if your lifestyle expands at the exact same speed as your paycheck, you are just as vulnerable as you were at 25. You just have nicer stuff. If one emergency, a broken transmission, a medical bill, or a lost job can still destroy your month, your money is not giving you control yet. It is only passing through your hands to pay other people. That is why the first goal in your 30s is not to impress anyone. It is to create distance between you and financial chaos. You need an emergency fund. Without an emergency fund, a surprise expense feels like a crisis. With one, that same expense becomes an inconvenience. And that difference matters because financial stress affects your sleep, your relationships, your confidence, and the way you make decisions. Then comes the debt, the kind that destroys futures. Credit cards, high interest loans, car payments that make you feel ahead for a few weeks but keep you behind for 5 years. This is where many people quietly lose control. They do not feel broke because their income looks decent. But every month, a big part of their money is already owned by the past. The vacation they already took, the car they bought, the lifestyle they upgraded too early. And yes, this is also the stage where investing must begin. The biggest mistake in your 30s is waiting until you make enough money to start. Financial stability is created by what you do with the income you already have. Time is still on your side. Use it. You do not need to invest huge amounts in the beginning, but you do need to stop consuming every dollar that enters your life. By the end of your 30s, you do not need to have everything figured out, but you should no longer be living one emergency away from going backward. That is what being on track really means. Your money should be buying you stability. But if your 30s expose your habits, your 40s reveal the consequences. And this is where the game completely changes. In your 40s, making money is no longer enough. Your income needs to start leaving evidence. By this stage, you have probably been working for 15 or 20 years. You may be near the peak of your earning potential. Your life can look great from the outside. A better home, a nicer car, more comfort, and more proof that you are doing well. But this is also the decade where a dark, uncomfortable question starts to appear when you are lying in bed at night. After 20 years of working every single day, what do I actually have to show for it? That question can hurt because sometimes the outside story and the inside reality are completely different. From the outside, you may look successful, but if most of your progress depends on payments, loans, credit cards, and a paycheck that cannot stop, then your income is not building freedom yet. It is only supporting a much more expensive version of survival. This is the danger of your 40s. You can look incredibly successful while becoming entirely financially trapped. You buy the nicer car because the bank says you can afford the payment. You move into the bigger home because your income is higher. You spend more because after years of working hard, you feel like you deserve it. And maybe you do. There is nothing wrong with wanting a better life. The problem is when every single raise turns into a more expensive lifestyle before it turns into an asset. That is how people earn good money and still build very little wealth. Their life improves on the surface while their actual net worth barely moves underneath. A bigger house can be a foundation, but it can also become a beautiful prison with walls around it. That is why your 40s must be the decade where income starts turning into something permanent. Some of your money needs to stay with you. It needs to turn into assets, index funds, retirement accounts, real estate, a business, cash reserves. Anything that can make your future less dependent on your next paycheck. Looking successful is about what people can see. Wealth is about what keeps working for you when nobody is watching. Lifestyle creep does not usually arrive as one giant bad decision. It arrives quietly. A slightly better car, a slightly more expensive house, a slightly nicer vacation, a few more subscriptions, a few more conveniences that slowly become permanent. And suddenly, the income that once felt powerful becomes normal. Then it becomes necessary. Then it becomes not enough. That is how people with good incomes end up feeling broke, not because they make too little, but because their lifestyle keeps growing faster than their freedom. By your 40s, your money should be leaving evidence. You should be able to look at your financial life and see proof that your work is turning into something that stays. Less toxic debt, more investments, more assets, more margin, more control, more options. That is what being on track really means in your 40s. Your money should be buying you assets. And by 50, the game changes again because the most expensive thing is no longer money. It is time. In your 30s, money is about stability. In your 40s, it is about assets. But in your 50s, money becomes directly connected to the clock. By this point, every single financial decision carries more weight. This is where the biggest danger is the panic pivot. The panic pivot happens when you look at your finances, realize you might be behind, and suddenly feel desperate to catch up. So you start chasing crazy returns, risky investments, wild debt, and shortcuts. You try to solve 25 years of financial delay with one aggressive move. Do not do this. Because in your 50s, the problem is not only losing money, the problem is losing time you cannot replace. In your 50s, the goal is no longer to look rich. The goal is to protect your freedom. This is the stage where long-term debts become dangerous. Buying status can quietly steal the peace you worked 3 decades to earn. A new car might feel like a reward, but if the payment follows you into the years when you should be reducing obligations, it may be taking more from your future than it gives to your present. This is where you need to separate comfort from status. Comfort makes your life better. Status makes your life more expensive. Comfort is a life you can afford. Status is a life that forces you to keep proving yourself. There is a huge difference. By your 50s, your money should help you sleep better, not force you to run faster on the treadmill. It should be giving you more choices, not locking you into decisions you made just to look successful to other people. How much do you need? How much do you have? What debt will still exist? What expenses can be reduced? What income sources can support you later? These questions are not meant to create panic. They are meant to give you clarity. Because avoiding the truth does not protect you from the future. It gives the future more power over you. Being on track at 50 is not about having a perfect $1 million number. It is about having a plan where debt is going down, assets are preserved, and your lifestyle is not consuming the freedom your future self will desperately need. At 50, your money should not be building an image anymore. It should be protecting your freedom. And this is where the real comparison begins, because two people can earn the exact same income and live completely different financial lives. One person can make $120,000 a year and still feel trapped. They can have the house, the cars, the vacations, and the image of success. But most of that money is already promised before the paycheck even arrives. The mortgage, the car payments, the credit cards, the subscriptions, the upgrades, and the lifestyle that started as a reward and slowly became a cage. They have income, but zero freedom. And someone else can earn $80,000 a year and feel completely in control. Their life may look simpler from the outside, but their money is not owned by everyone else. They have low overhead, zero toxic debt, an emergency fund, a habit of investing, and enough margin to make decisions without fear. They have less income, but they own more of their life. That is the difference between income and freedom. Income is what comes in. Freedom is what remains after your life is paid for. So when you think about where you should be financially by 30, 40, or 50, do not obsess over a number. The real question is whether your money is making life lighter or heavier, whether it is giving you options or stealing them. Because the goal is not to look ahead of everyone else. The goal is to stop feeling behind in your own life. But understanding what your money should be doing at your age is only the first step. The biggest mistake you can make right now is thinking that the solution to your financial stress is simply earning a higher salary. In fact, for most people, making more money is exactly what keeps them broke. If you want to know why your paycheck is growing but your bank account is not, you need to watch this next video right here. I explain exactly why earning more money might actually be making your situation worse, and how to escape the income trap before it is too late.